In the annals of American music, few names hold as much whispered potential, as much heartbreaking what if, as the man they called Mr. Easy. Many industry titans, those who built the foundation of R&B and soul, swear he could have been bigger than the greats, even surpassing the legendary Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, and perhaps the king of soul himself, Sam Cooke. That is a colossal statement, demanding a deeper look into the life cut tragically short. This was Jesse Belvin, a genius born with a golden voice and an effortless gift for composition. The iconic Etta James once said that when he peered into your eyes, you simply melted. He had the style, the look, and a sound that surpassed even James Dean's level of cool. He was the consummate artist of his generation, one who could reportedly pen 4 songs on the back of a grocery bag just minutes after being sent out for milk. Yet, this prodigy, who also penned the foundational doo-wop anthem Earth Angel, remains tragically outside the hallowed halls of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. His life ended in a burst of twisted metal and flames in 1960, barely an hour after a show erupted in racial chaos. At just 27 years old, many historians argue he was the first musical icon to succumb to the haunting curse of the 27 Club. This was not just a tragic accident. It was a devastating loss rooted in the volatile, segregated landscape of the Deep South. Was this a case of a reckless driver falling asleep, or a targeted act of terror that local authorities helped bury? You have to ask yourself, what really happened on that dark Arkansas highway? The truth of Jesse Belvin's immense talent was evident from his childhood in Los Angeles. He was born an anomaly, a golden anomaly. His family and friends immediately noticed that the boy carried a music inside him too large for his frame. He was not just a singer. He was a natural composer and a gifted pianist. He accumulated nicknames that spoke to his gifts: the Golden Voice, the Doo-Wop King, and most telling of all, Mr. Easy. This last title was earned because of his uncanny, effortless ability to craft complex, deeply felt songs. His mother once famously recounted sending him out for a simple chore: milk. The minutes he was gone translated into lines of melody and lyric. When he returned, there were not 1, but 4 complete songs scribbled onto the brown paper bag the milk was wrapped in. The creativity simply poured out of Jesse Belvin, a force that could not be contained by a notebook, much less a small Los Angeles neighborhood. The power of Jesse Belvin's songwriting would soon be cemented in American history, ironically, under circumstances that would foreshadow his later struggles with the music business. While serving in the Army during the Korean War, he wrote a tender ballad initially titled Dream Girl. This was a song destined to define a generation and to become the anthem of the burgeoning doo-wop era, Earth Angel. The piano in the Belvin home was the only one in the vicinity, and even in Jesse's absence, his mother allowed friends to come over and practice. It was during one of these sessions that his songbook, containing Dream Girl, was stolen by a close friend. The friends group, the Penguins, soon recorded it. When Jesse Belvin heard his creation, renamed Earth Angel, playing on the radio, he was still in the military. He was immediately dragged into a court battle with the label and the Penguins over ownership. The song became an immediate cultural phenomenon. It was one of the first major R&B singles to successfully cross over onto the pop charts, selling over 1 million copies. In the segregated mid-1950s, Earth Angel was considered a breakthrough, one of the first songs to truly bring young white and black teenagers together. The song's history was messy, but its impact was pristine. While Jesse Belvin did eventually win his legal fight and secure his rightful royalties, the incident was an early, painful lesson in the ruthlessness of the industry, a theme that would haunt many black artists of that period. The challenges in the early business were compounded by Jesse Belvin's free spirit. He loved to create and perform, but business was a distraction. He wrote and sold songs cheaply, sometimes for as little as $100, just to help his family. His name, his voice, and his songwriting were in such demand that he was signed to over 20 different record labels in just 3 or 4 years, often under aliases, simply because he was trying to collect enough cash to survive. This chaotic situation was remedied by the most important person in his life and career, his wife, Jo Anne Belvin, née Jo Anne Plant. Jo Anne was far more than a muse. She was a sharp, calculating partner who understood the business side of the game. She studied all of Jesse's contracts, learning how to negotiate, how to protect his name, and how to fight against the predatory practices that plagued artists of color. When it came time for Jesse Belvin to sign with the behemoth RCA Victor Records, his wife made a demand that stunned the corporate boardroom. Jesse Belvin's contract must mirror that of their biggest star, Elvis Presley. This deal guaranteed a secure path for Jesse, complete with movie options and unheard-of privileges. Even more remarkably, part of the agreement stipulated that Jesse Belvin would be the official vocal coach for Elvis Presley, tasked with helping the king of rock and roll refine his sound. Joann Belvin was the blueprint, a black woman in the 1950s laying down the law for a major record label, ensuring her husband's talent was matched by its financial reward. Even a legend like Sam Cooke, who carried many of Jesse's albums in his personal bag and tried to model his own career on him, had to respect the hustle and genius of Jesse and Jo Anne. Their bond was the strongest foundation in a notoriously weak and shaky industry. The move to RCA Victor Records marked the undeniable peak of Jesse Belvin's career, positioning him to transition from a doo-wop genius to a pop idol. RCA, determined to compete with Capitol Records' dominance with Nat King Cole, saw Jesse as their ultimate weapon. They sought to market him as the Black Elvis Presley, leveraging the crossover success of hits like Earth Angel. Their strategy was clear: groom Jesse Belvin to become a smooth ballad singer who could command a massive white audience, just as Cole did. His signature song during this era, Guess Who?, a soulful piece penned by his wife Jo, and catapulted him into the mainstream. It hit number 36 on the pop charts and peaked at number 7 on the R&B charts. The track earned Jesse Belvin 2 Grammy nominations at the very first Grammy Awards show in 1959. Although he lost the Best Male Vocal Performance award to Frank Sinatra, the recognition placed him firmly in the same league as the biggest names in the business. The level of respect he commanded was profound. The label's confidence was so high that they tasked Jesse Belvin with an extraordinary duty. He was paid to serve as a vocal coach and instructor for the biggest star in the world, Elvis Presley. This detail alone solidifies the argument that Jesse Belvin was viewed by industry insiders as a vocal maestro, a technical and stylistic expert whose influence permeated the very core of American popular music. Despite the lucrative contracts and the ambition of RCA to keep him in the polished pop realm, Jesse Belvin felt the pull of his roots and his black audience. He worried about losing the connection that made his music real. This internal conflict led him to join the R&B Caravan Tour of 1960, featuring an all-black roster of stars, including his close friends Sam Cooke and Jackie Wilson. This was not a comfortable Chitlin circuit jaunt. This tour was intentionally pushing boundaries. Their show in Little Rock, Arkansas, scheduled for February 5, 1960, was meant to be the first integrated rock and roll show in the state's history. To understand the danger of this moment, one must remember that Little Rock was ground zero for racial hostility. Just a few years earlier, the Little Rock Nine had faced mobs and the National Guard just to attend high school. The tension was palpable and deadly. When the artists took the stage at the Robinson Auditorium, the venue became a pressure cooker. White supremacists were in the crowd, screaming racial slurs at the performers, including Jesse Belvin and Jackie Wilson. They aggressively urged the white teenagers to leave, furious at the sight of black and white youth mingling together all in one room. The defiance in the room quickly turned violent. Glass bottles rained down from the mezzanine. Fights erupted between black and white audience members. The chaos was so severe that the show had to be stopped not once, but twice. Jackie Wilson, shaken, refused to continue performing. The atmosphere was not just hostile, it was overtly threatening. Jesse Belvin had already received multiple death threats in the days leading up to the show. Now, after the promoter demanded a second performance which the artists refused, they were ordered to leave town immediately at gunpoint. The stars, who had pushed for integration through music, were literally being chased out of the Deep South. The stage was set for a terrifying escape, a story that transitioned abruptly from the glittering lights of fame to the dark reality of a hostile road. The chaotic night of February 5, 1960, ended not with applause, but with a terrifying flight for survival. Jesse Belvin, Sam Cooke, Jackie Wilson, and the entire black entourage were forced out of Little Rock, Arkansas. They were literally ran out of town. This was a stark reminder that no amount of crossover success, not even a Grammy nomination or a chart-topping hit like Earth Angel, could protect a black artist in the violent, segregated Deep South. The fear was real and immediate. Jesse Belvin had already called his mother several times, expressing his deep anxiety about the hatred they were encountering. Now, as they rushed to their vehicles, a black Cadillac owned by Jesse, they were subjected to the final, chilling act of intimidation. A witness observed 5 young white men lingering near the cars of Jesse Belvin and Jackie Wilson. Crucially, the witness stated that 2 men were blocking the view, while another was seen underneath Jesse Belvin's vehicle. Though the artists managed to escape the mob, a seed of sabotage was potentially planted. The air of menace was so thick that Jackie Wilson, later on the road to Dallas, would become paranoid and suspect that his own tires had been tampered with. Leaving Little Rock, the Cadillac carried 4 people: Jesse Belvin, his wife Jo Anne Belvin, guitarist Kirk Davis, and the driver, Charles Shackelford. The choice of driver would become a grim point of contention in the narrative of the crash. Shackelford had recently been working for Ray Charles, who explicitly fired him for dangerous driving habits. Charles, in his autobiography, noted that Shackelford was prone to swerving, falling asleep at the wheel, and drinking. Worse, he often preferred to hang around the shows, instead of resting up for the long hours of driving required on tour. Hours later, on the highway leading toward Dallas, the catastrophic event occurred. Shackelford, possibly due to exhaustion or intoxication, lost control of the Cadillac. The car veered into the oncoming lane and smashed head-on into another vehicle. The collision was so horrific that the car exploded, bursting into flames. Jesse Belvin and the driver, Charles Shackelford, were killed instantly. Other musicians following behind them saw a horrible glow, like a red glare that lit up the sky. The last conscious action of Jesse Belvin was an act of profound, heroic love. Jackie Wilson, who heard the story from the surviving guitarist Kirk Davis, recounted that the entire car was asleep. Just before the crash, as the car began to swerve, Jesse instinctively threw his arm around his wife and shoved her head beneath the car radio. This maneuver likely saved Jo Anne from immediate death, but Jesse Belvin himself was propelled through the windshield and was nearly decapitated. Jo Anne Belvin was rushed to a local hospital with critical injuries, including a crushed pelvis and a broken arm. The tragedy deepened when, according to Etta James' book, Rage to Survive, the hospital refused to treat Jo Anne until they received payment. She remained untreated until Jackie Wilson, driving back from Dallas with money, arrived to cover the costs. Despite the payment, Jo Anne Belvin succumbed to her injuries, a crushed pelvis and chest. A week later, 5 people in total lost their lives that day, including the couple in the other car. The only survivor in the Cadillac, guitarist Kirk Davis, was severely injured and fell into a coma. Though he survived, he has never given a clear interview about the events of that night. The silence of the sole witness has only fueled the most unsettling questions. The tragic accident on a dark Arkansas road was immediately viewed by the black community as something far more sinister than fate. The loss of Jesse Belvin and Jo Anne Belvin in the heart of the deeply segregated Deep South triggered an automatic assumption of foul play. They knew the violence and hatred that existed, especially against any black figure challenging the status quo. The strongest evidence suggesting sabotage came from the immediate aftermath of the crash. One of the first state troopers to arrive at the accident scene gave a shocking statement. The 2 rear tires on Jesse Belvin's black Cadillac had been obviously tampered with. The implication was that the tires had been slashed, a common tactic used for sabotage, which would certainly cause a driver, even one with a history of recklessness, to lose control and swerve into oncoming traffic. Yet, after that initial, explosive statement, the trooper offered no further details. There are no known records of the crash, no police notes, no photographs, and no official report was ever filed. In the volatile climate of the 1950s and 60s, particularly regarding the death of a prominent black figure, this lack of documentation strongly suggests a deliberate cover-up by local authorities to shield the attackers. The prevailing theory among friends and colleagues was an assassination, designed to send a brutal message to any black artist attempting to organize integrated shows. Jackie Wilson was so enraged and convinced of a conspiracy that he wanted his lawyer to investigate immediately. The profound impact of the Belvins' death rippled through the music community. Sam Cooke, who had long admired and patterned his own career after Jesse Belvin, was devastated. The loss galvanized Sam Cooke, who soon signed with the same label, RCA Victor, and reportedly boycotted a segregated show in Memphis, risking his own safety in defiance of the atmosphere that killed his friend. It is a bitter irony that a talent of his magnitude, a true pioneer of the crossover sound and a respected peer of Sam Cooke and Nat King Cole, is still not inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. His omission, like the official police records, feels like a deliberate silence in American history. The death of Jesse Belvin at the age of 27 and his wife, Jo Anne Belvin, at 25 was a devastating blow not only to American music but to the very idea of artistic freedom in the Deep South. He was, in the bleakest sense, the first casualty of the 27 Club. His death marked by racial violence and systemic indifference. The loss of his voice, described by Stevie Wonder as possessing such profound sincerity, represents a parallel musical universe that we will never know. Yet, within the heartbreak, there is a profound testament to the brilliance and foresight of Jo Anne Belvin. Before she died, she had already established an unbreakable business blueprint for black artists. She was the one who, foreseeing the industry's capacity for deception, ensured their children's names were placed on the publishing rights to their music, specifically mentioning the iconic song Earth Angel. This single, brilliant move guaranteed that their two sons, including Jesse Belvin Jr., would be able to live off the royalties, a defiant legacy of financial justice in an industry built on exploitation. This is the real story of Jesse Belvin. Not merely a car crash, but a crucial chapter in the struggle for dignity and integration. His influence lives on, the foundation he helped lay for Sam Cooke's massive career, the style he taught Elvis Presley, and the spirit of a pioneer who was chased out of town for the sin of bringing people together. The simple question remains, if his talent was so immense, why is he still overlooked for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Call to action. We invite you to look at the facts. The death threats, the man seen under the car, the trooper's claim of tampered with tires, and the fact that authorities filed no report. Was this a terrible, tragic accident involving a sleepy driver? Or was this a targeted assassination in the Deep South that the local authorities covered up? Leave a comment below and tell us what you believe. If you agree that the legacy of Jesse Belvin and Earth Angel must be formally recognized by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, type justice in the comments. We read every comment. This story is a reminder that dignity and truth are earned, not given. If you want to keep exploring the overlooked lives and profound legacies of black icons who changed the world, subscribe now. We will see you on the next journey into history.